Number one, shout outs to Vivi. Mwah. Vivi right now is on point, making sure that there is no rat activity going on with the Straw Hat crew, whether it's up close or far or far. Yo, this man Morgan's trying to just do the dirtiest, filthiest, most propagandist BS on the planet, and Vivi's like, no, I don't care who is here. I don't care if it's your crib. If you come at my boys,
say that again and I will really hurt you.
So all love to Vivi. I want to see her on the Sunny Go. Absolutely, bro. I definitely do. Her and Yamato. 1. 2 is shout outs to Lilith. Mwah. Why? Because it's Lilith. That's all I gotta say. That's all I gotta say. Oh, well, King, Lilith.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
We do not care. It is what it is. For all of the Lilith fanboys out there, include myself, we don't care. But there is someone that does care a lot about Vegapunk in this chapter, and that is Borsalino, aka Kizaru. So this chapter is a pretty simple chapter. Zoro says something in this chapter that it caught my attention. So hold on.
Wait.
The chapter does have, in general, 3 main parts to it. In terms of character, the linchpin for this chapter is Kizaru. Morgans is aware of the Law Pirates fighting against Blackbeard. He's aware of the Shank smackdown on Kid and is trying to now put the blame of Vegapunk's death on the Straw Hat crew. So, oh yeah, bounties are gonna come. And I'm just hoping that in a general sense, right now for the bounties, what I want to see the most is I need to see Zoro and Sanji have bounties over King and Queen. It is, honest to God, ridiculous that they're not. But even though I feel ridiculous to say this, if you don't know, now you know. Obviously, I do my live stream reactions to these chapters where first on the Cole Requiem YouTube channel, link in the box below to that channel. And of course, make sure to check out the entire full stream on my twitch.tv channel. And last thing, if you do support your boys' content at large, make sure, simply put, give the video a thumbs up. Now, I'm giving Kizaru a thumbs up for this chapter. Oh yeah, I'm gonna say it again, slower. I'm gonna give Kizaru a thumbs up for this chapter. The Uncertain Justice finally gets off his tush and talks to good old Akainu, the greatest desk jockey in the world. And we see these images of Kizaru chilling with Dr. Vegapunk, and he calls him my best friend. Now, I didn't really get those vibes. Like, hey, you're my number one, my besto friendo, like Todo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Whoa, 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 whoa. I did not get those vibes when it came to the Kizaru and Vegapunk interactions in real time or in the flashback, but they definitely were friends. So maybe this Sunday the Viz won't say best friend, but for the time being, we'll take it at face value. I'm gonna keep it a stack. Kizaru, going through what he's gone through with Vegapunk, even seeing like Kizaru lift up 10 steel beams to help try and create this new wonderland, an island that is 500 years into the future. And then as you have this shot of the entire island on fire, something that he has helped build, and of course him obviously stabbing Vegapunk with the lightsaber, the tears start flooding. He's been holding back. Not in terms of his power, at least I can't necessarily say that, but in terms of his grief. It's not, let's say, in the same vein up front as Kuzan during the whole Garp situation. And I think that's relatively okay. We knew that it was going to be difficult for Kizaru to take out Vegapunk. That was a given. Nobody wants to kill their homeboys. That's why you see in the movies that it's always damn tragic. And to be fair, Vegapunk was going to die anyway because Saturn gored this dude like Rhino from TNA.
Now he wants to level with another one. Gar!
He gored him in chapter 106. So Kizaru wasn't really the one to quote-unquote kill Vegapunk because the man was a dying man anyway. It's like pulling the plug on a patient that just cannot be saved. The outcome will not change. Of course, tragic, without them doubt, nonetheless. But the outcome was going to be the same. Kizaru's reaction to Akainu saying that, you think I was like, what, joking around, messing around? You think I was just slacking off here? Which, again, arguably is like, I'm not holding back here. If he was holding back against Luffy, he was slacking. That'd make him a liar. But I digress. And then Akainu's response, a way more sympathetic. That was my bad, brother. Not bad. Now, does he mean actual brother, like DNA brother? Does he mean, again, the Todo style, brother, like Aniki stuff? And the Kizaru, just watch your mouth. So this I thought was strong. I don't know if it's as strong as Kuzan stuff with Garp, Actually, I'll probably say no. I don't think it was as strong because again, there was like real-time concern by Kuzan. Kobe is also in there as the third party to elevate the whole situation, and Garp as a character is more meaningful to us compared to someone like Vegapunk. He has that tenure in the fandom. Whereas Kizaru was committed to the cause. Even when this man, Vegapunk, was gored by Saturn, he still maintained the mission and he finished the job. So sympathies for Kizaru, not in the same vein as, let's say, Sentomaru, who we see paddling away. Sentomaru, yeah, bro, crying as he has to just start paddling away with his axe and some food and supplies. Yeah, that's sad. And now this man's probably barred from ever being a Marine again. Kaepernick activity, barred from joining the NFL ever again.
Damn.
The Zoro thing for this chapter, I think Zoro's right, honestly. There's actually depth to this, where even though Frankie said what he said, almost like listing off Whitebeard's stats when he passed away, where you have, hey, the 5 elders, an admiral, CP0, Seraphim, a whole ass armada. You have Jinbei, yeah, like I'm with you there. So I was like, no. It's pathetic. He's an emperor now. An old man dying shouldn't affect him this badly. I think Zoro has a really good point. I think he has a very good point. This will require another video because it is deeper than what I think a lot of folks think, but it's also in your face. It's something that I don't think a lot of folks really comprehend, at least I would say on other channels, on other platforms. Over here in the realm, I think you guys get it by now because I've been saying about it for quite a bit of time. However, obviously not every One Piece fan watches my channel, search. But also, number 2, Luffy is still Luffy. The same kid that we see in 2024 is the same kid that we saw in 2014, is the same kid that we saw in 2004. Monkey D. Luffy is Monkey D. Luffy. Whether his bounty is 30 mil, 100 mil, 500 mil, 1 bill, or he's a Emperor of the Sea 3 bill, he's still the same dude. It's actually one of the most cornerstone, underlying, like fundamental bedrock things, right? If you have more than 2 brain cells and you can rub it together, you understand that Luffy a lot of times has to fight against the world to maintain who he is. It's part of the reason why Oda always keeps Luffy as a child, mentally of course. Many characters in the story, main characters, a lot of times are fighting to be themselves and not be changed by the world around them, because there are cornerstone fundamental things about oneself that are important to achieve one's dreams, one's true goals in life. And a lot of times in our world, in the real world, in the flesh and blood world, whether it's time, whether it's the environment, let's say peer pressure by those around us, and even the weight of responsibility, we do change and acquiesce to the world. But in the story of One Piece, it is okay to be who you really are. Whole Cake Island, Sanji. It's okay to be who you are. And even though Luffy isn't like in the same vein as Kaido and Big Mom in terms of mindset, that's cool. So Zoro has a point, which again, because I think I have to do a deeper dive into this whole thing about Zoro's comments here and why it's so important, but at the same time, Luffy is Monkey D. Luffy. And Vegapunk is still Vegapunk, whether Vegapunk is DEAD or they're just York and Lilith. Why is that? The Cloud. You see, Lilith is alive, which to me, I'm like Sanji. Oh my God! You have Usopp. He's making something. He's charging up for Elbaf. It's gonna be an amazing time. Lilith does cry momentarily for the Vegapunks. She's the evil one, but she still does care about them. We saw before, let's say Edison, where Edison was in back condition and she was crying over Edison. So she does care, but then just, hey, I'm hungry. You and York are no longer connected. So that means that you can't take in those nutrients telepathically. It's kind of crazy still, I'm not gonna lie to you. How do you absorb nutrients telepathically? I don't know. It's weird.
Magic.
It's science. It's not magic, it's science. And science will do a whole bunch of crazy things. And even though she lost some of that science glaze, the fact of the matter is that she's still alive. And what she says to Luffy after he's eating all of these like Titan-sized grapes, bro, everyone's alive. And I think it's because of the Cloud. Punk Records. In the last chapter, Shaka, Pythagoras, and Vegapunk, they were kind of discussing what does death really constitute for them. And in that same panel, when that's mentioned, we get to see Punk Records. And this is something that at least a lot of people like myself really cared about when it came to Vegapunk's passing away in this arc. Vegapunk had his brain Punk records up there the entire time. But his body currently was operating without a brain. So you could argue technically he was dead because his body's missing one of its core, like, functional organs. But an antenna on his skull, the apple thing, was tied to his brain that was already detached. It was really interesting because it applied to the power. We know that having a power literally changes one's DNA, but at the same time, if the body ceases to operate, then the power leaves the body. So the power is probably stored in the body in some way. Is it the case where the powers are hosted in your mind and not, let's say, in your heart or in your stomach? Or is it because you have the brain power is stored in the brain, but other powers, let's say, will be stored in your heart or in your gut? This may sound ridiculous, but keep in mind that someone like Blackbeard has multiple powers. Why is that? We don't know, but we do know that his body is atypical. So is it like he has multiple hearts, multiple stomachs? Because let's say, for example, there's that theory that he's like a hippo where let's say he has 3 stomachs. There's that one cover of a hippo and BB brushing their teeth. Hence the idea of Blackbeard having a 3-chamber stomach like a hippo. Maybe it's some Chinese manhwa Mandarin chi circle, and then you have a devil fruit chi orb of some kind inside your body. Whatever it is. These topics, I think, now have to be discussed more on the forefront because Vegapunk, even though they're mostly dead, including the Stella body, they can still operate in the cloud that is Punk Records, and Vegapunk could probably reform his body, or at least Lilith could probably remake his body through cloning, engineering, and so on and so forth. And then even though Vegapunk has died this arc, in reality, it's not really a true death in the sense of he is no longer in this world. And if the Stella body does come back in the future, he would still keep his devil fruit ability. This is crazy. It feels maybe a little bit cheap considering how, okay, we just saw most of the Vegapunks die, but in the future, they could come back because their data is stored in the cloud that is Punk Records. So you lose your laptop in a fire, that sucks, but you have all the software information on the cloud. So ultimately, just re-download all that stuff and you're fine. So it feels the same way here. It does make sense given the paradigm of what we've seen throughout the entirety of this arc, where science can create the most insane miracles that we've seen in the story One Piece. I mean, these guys were thinking about actually applying mass to memories via Kuma's power. It's like, bro, like the tech stuff I think is outstanding. And we end up on a high note because Vegapunks are alive in some way. Luffy, oh my God, really? Okay, it's time to feast. And we are en route to Elbaf, and someone is waiting for us there. Now, in my stream, there were a lot of options, bro. There were a lot of, we're talking about Virgo, Pedro, The real options were, of course, Loki, Saul, Thor, Urouge, because Urouge is the last supernova we really need to get their stuff in any arc. Eustace, Captain Kido, maybe Killer and not Kid, because let's say Kid is DAD. Or it could be Scopper Gabon. The idea is that it ties to like the cover story of 631, and then if you look at all the math and the numbers, it's gotta be Scopper. So just how Crocus was waiting at the beginning of the Grand Line, then you had Rayleigh at the middle point of the Grand Line, and then now you have Gabon at the major cornerstone of the new world, Elbaf. It's like they were positioned, ready and waiting for the right crew, and maybe Scopper also saved Kid and Kid's crew. Could it be Scopper? Yes. Okay, fine. Every person who is silhouetted could be Scopper. Person we see at the end of chapter 1121, the mystery person, that could be Scopper. Emu was still silhouetted. Emu could be Scopper. Scopper is always on the table. He always is. So whether it is or is not, we're gonna find out hella soon. But there's a break next week, because keep in mind that Oda right now could be doing a lot of things with the One Piece live action, because he already said in his post for the live action, they won't produce unless he is satisfied. So that means what? Oda's gonna be going to Cali a lot. Again. Which means what? A lot of manga chapter breaks. Again. Yep. So I say, well, this chapter is once again like another 6.5 to 7 out of 10. Character strongest for Kizaru for sure. And in terms of world building, it kind of just solidifies what we've already kind of thought about in this arc, where we're not too sure if death really means the same thing for Vegapunk as, let's say, for other people. That's why originally Lucci and company had to kill all the Vegapunks, right? Morgan's prepare some of the craziest news that's gonna hit the papers. Bounties, 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 and it's gonna be a glorious chapter. And it's gonna be a fire chapter to see who has these apex bounties. And mind you, it could be, let's say, for even more obscure people like Dorian Brogy, who have not gotten updated in a very long time. Well, that could change in the next few chapters, where 100 mil? Let's try 2 bill a pop.
Oh my.
We already did a video on the bounties post Agate Island. Crazy videos, so check that out right now. So once again, a 6.5 to 7 out of 10 chapter. Character was the strongest, but it's just only Kizaru. And then story-wise, it's aight. And for pace, it was pretty good. So let me know your stance on this chapter in the comments section down below. And I'm gonna catch you guys and gals on the flip side.
See you. Bye bye.